entertained? Are you not entertained?
We're back. We are back, baby. Daredevil is officially back in the MCU. Welcome back to the Whiskey Jedi, the Whiskey Jedi channel, I guess you could say. And it is our Daredevil Born Again episode reviews. Super excited to be here. It's been 7 years in the making since Daredevil has officially been off the screen, but he is back in his own led show. And we're going to get into it tonight because there's so many incredible things happening in the show already in just the first 2 episodes that needs discussion. And I can't wait to talk this show for the next 8 weeks. We're going to be doing a weekly review show here on the channel, and really excited to do it with an obvious choice, a Marvel head. He's been a partner in crime for a very, very long time when it comes to a podcast, and there's no way I could do the show without him. So welcome aboard, Mr. Brian Avalosino.
Hello, hello, hello. Yay.
I wish I had one of those soundboards to make an applause in the background. But, it's all good.
I know, that's like the one thing we never did.
Yeah, it was always on the wish list. I just never pulled the trigger on it. So.
Yeah, that's fair, because we probably would have gotten tired of it after like a week. Well, maybe not a week.
Sean never got tired of it. I doubt I would never get tired.
That's true. That's true.
How you doing, man? It's dude. We're talking Daredevil. We're talking Marvel on a weekly basis again.
I know. It feels right. It feels right. I cannot believe it's been 7 years.
I know,
since we've seen these characters.
I know. In their own show.
Yeah, like
I don't want
the
someone
same
coming
character.
after you in the comments. Oh, the Hawkeye and Echo and all these things.
Okay,
in their
yeah,
own show.
Yes, the continuation of said Netflix Daredevil TV show, but it just feels like it just didn't ever stop. It just felt like a very long season finale from the previous one, because it picked up right back where it left off, and Disney said, "Oh, you think we can't handle Daredevil? Watch us." And I think that's my favorite thing so far about this, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it. But very excited that it's back.
Yeah, they obviously wanted to make a point in the first 60 minutes of the first episode, but really in the first 15 minutes, they wanted to make a point about this show. And just for everyone watching, full spoilers. It's in the title of the video. We're not doing this without any spoilers. So if you have not seen the episodes, that is your fault for being here and listening to all of this.
Literally says review in the title. So
yeah, it's a full-blown thing on Born Again. So you have been warned. Let's just jump into it, because we obviously have 2 episodes to talk about. And
2 long episodes.
I think they're all going to be 45 minutes to an hour, which is incredible. Perfect. I honestly don't know why the MCU and Star Wars doesn't do that in general. It's never made sense to me why they do 30 minutes. It felt perfect. It felt so, and it's so weird to say, but it felt so old school in having a television show be 45 minutes to an hour, because I want to say before Disney Plus happened, every TV show was 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. All the dramas and action shows and everything. But then everything kind of shifted, and Born Again is an example of why you do these types of shows the way that, like this. I mean, it clearly works.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, it's literally on the same playing field as an HBO show, like a Penguin or a House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, where it's like that's the episode. It's an hour long. From 6 to 7 with commercials or whatever, but like it's the standard. Like it's the normal thing to do. It's not this week a 46-minute episode and the next week 23-minute episode. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. This felt right. It felt like I was watching a real, like an HBO type planned scheduled show. and I agree with you. Disney needs to figure it out. I don't know why, of all the streaming services, they're like, here's what you're supposed to do, and they look at it and they're like, let's try to do the harder way.
With arguably the two biggest properties in the world right now. So
Yeah, it doesn't make it never has made sense to me.
yeah,
Like,
I hope I hope a shift begins, and because we have television craze over the last like 6 months or so has been insane. But we have shows like Severance and just shows that I'm thinking off the top of my head right now. Severance and Paradise. Invincible, an animated show, is almost an hour long. We have all these shows that are going 45 minutes.
Yellowstones are like
that. Yellowstone. I mean, they're all that length. So I really hope that we start to see a shift with Disney. If Andor episodes are 45 minutes, we might be in the clear, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But let's get into it. Look, we have kind of talked about the idea that this show ended up going with at the beginning of those first 20 minutes, the opening sequence of this show.
Like
we've all been theorizing on the idea of what happened. And spoiler again, the death of Foggy Nelson. It's kind of been, it really hasn't been hinted at, but the groundwork had been laid through the marketing. And if you put together the pieces right, you would recognize that he wasn't really in any stuff outside of walking outside of
that one picture you saw.
Yeah, it was really only centered on that sequence. And we all had our hearts ripped out on Tuesday night as Bullseye got his revenge and he shot Foggy Nelson outside of Josie's. And we saw one of the single best Daredevil action sequences we've ever gotten out of the 4 seasons of television with this character.
I put it
right
up there
out
as
of the gate.
Straight up Marvel best.
It's by far one of the best action sequences we've ever seen in the MCU, hands down.
Oh, easily.
And the fact that it was a one-shot sequence made it that much better. But yeah, Bullseye came back for his revenge after the season 3 and the final moments of that show. Shot Foggy Nelson. Matt Murdock there's so many things happening in this sequence, but
have you watched the episode more than once?
Yes.
I've watched it 3 times.
Yeah. So
I don't think I've ever watched a Marvel or Star Wars show 3 times in this amount of days.
There's so many things happening while the fight is happening, while we are listening to Karen try to save Foggy, because Matt is not only fighting Bullseye, but he's listening to everything while he's fighting, I should say. And it's just it was so well done. And as much as it rips my heart out that it happened, it had to happen.
Oh.
It was a necessary story plot point, because you have to move the character of Matt Murdock forward in a way.
Yeah.
And this is how you do it. This is how you make it different. This is how you change the game for all of the characters, but specifically Matt. And
setting the bar, like,
and it worked. Like, it worked. The way my jaw was on the floor when he threw Bullseye off the roof, I lost my shit. I could not believe, because he did it so nonchalantly.
He literally just went.
He turned his head and just goes, whoop, and
the smack when
I was watching. And then you have Deborah Ann Wall, who might have had the best performance in the entire 2 episodes in that 30 seconds, when she thinks it's Matt behind her. And she's fearful of turning around to look whose body just thudded on the ground 5 feet from her. Like,
it honestly, I have a hard time thinking of a show that started off better than that. Like, at least in recent memory, where it just literally, it was like an immediate baseball bat to the face of just like Like there's no words.
And obviously it's hard to compare because it technically is a sequel.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's funny though, because one of my buddies watched it, and he's a casual, but Daredevil and like Punisher are like his favorite types of the ones. Like he's not into the big thing, but always loved Netflix's Daredevil and Punisher. And when he finished watching both episodes, he goes, "I thought this was like part of the Netflix." And I was like, "It is part of the Netflix." And he's like, "Well, how come it's being advertised as season 1?" And I'm like, "Because it is, but it's like, yeah." So like so it was kind of funny, like him like trying to like be like, "Well, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is a new show,
it's both.
but
it's both.
Yeah, there's
100%
no way
both.
because he said like you usually get like the immediate like afterwards of like you should watch this." And it was just like, and then it comes up as Daredevil season 1. So he was like, "What in the hell was going on?" And I was like,
I think it has to do with the rights.
That I do too. I think they can't use the same exact.
That's why they can't use the same font. That's
Yeah.
why everyone was freaking out about like the logo and maybe even the intro music, because the intro music is different from the Netflix show, which everyone made a stink about. And I don't care. I don't care.
It was not enough for me to care.
It was still such a brilliant intro. Like it is so good still. It's probably the best intro out of all of the Marvel shows. And people are still making a stink about it. I think it's obviously both, but they can't market it as a season 4 because of rights. But also, like it's new territory and a new age and new era for these characters in the MCU. Like, I think it's okay to call it a season 1 of a show, and I've never had an issue with it ever since they announced it. Like no issue whatsoever.
No, neither have I.
Brian, hard-hitting question right out of the gate: is Foggy Nelson dead?
So I literally just had this same conversation. I truly don't know because I'm sure you already know the person that dropped the Easter egg today that they noticed
of NMP. Yeah. NMMP.
Yeah. And the fact that for those that don't or didn't see it,
was it 488 or 468? 468, right?
I think it's 468.
I think it's 468. So what we're referring to is Daredevil run number 468. The story is centered around Foggy Nelson.
It is 468.
Faking his death.
Yeah.
And in the shot of them coming out of NMMP at the beginning of the show, you can see the address of their law firm being 468.
And the comic book is called... Okay, sorry.
No, just saying could be referring to that storyline of Foggy possibly faking his death.
Yeah. So the Daredevil issue is 468. And the literal, like, it's a Daredevil issue, but on the front of it, it says The Secret Life of Foggy Nelson. And in that, he fakes his own death.
I think it's possible.
I think it is too. I don't know how, because the thing...
To be fair, maybe... Because look, after everything that happened in season 3, and the show specifically ended with Matt only keeping Kingpin alive if he promised that Foggy and Karen would be okay. Because he was coming after him the entire show. And they could have put a situation in play where they talked to each other and said, look, if this happens, here's an out. Or they do the Nick Fury where they think he's dead. And just to make sure that he's safe and okay until everything is like done, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, the only caveat I would have to that is the fact that when he sat down with Kingpin, he was like, I had nothing to do with this.
I know. But what if Matt thinks he's actually dead? And I mean, what if Karen left to San Francisco knowing he wasn't dead?
There would have to be, my thing is there would have to be some solid explanation because he heard his heart stop beating.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the only thing. Like, that's the only thing that is keeping me on the hook that he is dead. If it was if it was anything other than that, I would probably be like, yeah, it's probably more than likely he's coming back. But like the fact that throughout the whole entire sequence, since the second he got shot, Matt was listening to his heartbeat slow down and then immediately stop. And that's when he like yells out that guttural scream on the roof.
I wish I had a photo of that, but I don't think you could see the address in this. Can't see the address, but
it's on the like door.
Yeah, this is the obviously the beginning of the show. This is what we're talking about. There's a shot in the actual episode of them where you can see the 468, and then Brian, you can keep talking. I'm just going to show a couple of.
Oh no, you're fine.
But, like when we first see him in the costume on the rooftop, and then the dude has 7 knives in his body.
The amount of knives that
Bullseye
threw into him throughout this whole entire.
This is such a sick shot, by the way. Like,
this is so
sick.
The whole entire thing. I am so happy, like that they kept the same actors. Like, every actor that has been on Daredevil has been literally made for that part. Charlie Cox was born to play Daredevil. Deborah Ann Wall was born to play Karen Payne. Like, the list keeps going. I'm drawing a blank on Bullseye's first.
Wilson Bethel.
He is
perfect.
Such a menacing Bullseye. Like, when he was in the courtroom and just like...
Oh, I have that image right here.
Yeah. That, and he does not give a flying F. Like, they are so perfect. I forget who it was. Someone said that they would kill, it was someone famous. I think it might have been a director or something. Said that they would kill for a Bullseye TV show. And dude, I think
it's possible.
I would be so on board.
Because what has he been doing for 7 years since his spine recovery?
Yeah. So I mean, the dude fell off of like a 3-story building and landed on his face. Like, we're going to need some explanations to that. In the comics, I know already what people are saying.
Question for you, Brian. Question for you. I wouldn't be doing my job unless I asked.
That's fair.
Vibranium or adamantium?
Okay, here's my thing.
Because it's 7 years ago. Keep that in mind.
That's exactly
7 years ago.
That's exactly my thought process. Is we literally just got adamantium.
It has, if anything, it would have to be vibranium.
There is no way, in my opinion, it could be adamantium. Okay. It just
I just want to clear the air.
Yeah, no. That's fair, because I've genuinely been thinking about it a lot lately.
Unless he had another, like maybe the possibility of whoever fixed him.
So help me God if I hear that it was injected with a super soldier serum.
No, I don't think that would be the case. But I do think that there's a chance that maybe he was initially operated on.
Well, because they showed when he was in the courtroom the back of his neck.
Yeah, maybe he was initially operated on, and then look, it's quite possible that an injury to that extent might require either repairs or an upkeep.
Yeah.
And by the time adamantium is introduced, whoever fixed him and has him on the payroll could have been like, I got my hands on this. Let's upgrade. And obviously they'd have to explain that very, very well. But there is the chance that that's possible because Kingpin full on bamed him.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, his body was in a million pieces.
100%.
That is not just, that's more than just a spine injury. That's like a whole body injury.
He was like filleted.
Yeah,
when they
it was an entire process. So I'm sure that there was a pretty large recovery and build and everything. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's vibranium or adamantium at this point. So.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like I was saying, all these characters are so perfect, even down to like Vanessa. Like,
yeah,
it was an absolute, like, that outrage that people were when they recasted her. Like, sorry to that actress that got the part and then they went, no, like, we're good. Like, she is so good.
I just love her accent.
Yes, and she is so good with Vincent D'Onofrio. Like everyone is so perfect, and I actually I'm not the only character probably out of the whole thing that so far I'm kind of like is the therapist. But
see, I don't mind her.
I don't.
Do you know who she
her.
played in another Disney show, Brian?
No.
She played. So in The Acolyte, the twins' mother, she played the girlfriend.
Oh,
despite
yeah.
I'm totally blanking on the name. Is it Mother Coral? Maybe
I don't know. Don't ask me.
but she played her.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean,
so I agree with you.
We've had this much screen time, also.
But I was going to say she was the only major character, the only major prominent character that's brand new to the show, outside of Matt's new lawyer friend.
Which I like her.
I like her a lot.
So do I.
But
she's very good.
It's going to take time for us to get used to Matt's new girlfriend because she's exactly that.
Yeah.
Matt's new girlfriend. She's not Karen Page. Like it's a whole it's going to be a whole new thing, but
the man's a hoe.
They're doing something incredibly interesting with her.
Yes.
They're not only making her the therapist for Wilson and Vanessa, they're making her the therapist for fucking Muse.
I know.
Muse. Genius. And for those who didn't recognize, you probably didn't know if you don't know the comics, etc. But when we were at the book reading for the therapist in the second
episode. Yeah.
When she was doing her book signing, a young kid came up to her to get a book signed after Wilson's assistant came up, or bodyguard, or whatever you want to call him. And that kid was like, I need help. She gave him her email. That's Muse.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know it yet. But that's Muse. Yeah. That is, dude, for all of you who are about to meet Muse, prepare yourselves.
Yeah.
If they showed what they just did in the first episode with Bullseye, prepare yourself.
Dude, I know this is jumping, but like this show, like I said, is literally like the fight scenes alone and stuff, and like like I said, Disney is literally like, you think we can't do like bad and gory and like violent? Like watch us, because I don't know if you saw it in the second episode when he is fighting the cops.
The bones,
the snap of the guy's arm.
Oh, I saw it. I saw it.
I gasped.
And then when he threw the guy down in his neck?
Yes. I gasped. I'm telling
you, they have to prove that they're keeping it not just in line, but they're building. And to me, we've only seen 2 episodes. It already feels more violent than a Netflix show.
Oh, I know. And someone said, I saw some person that like reviewer or whatever said that he's seen all 9 episodes, and he said that he arguably hasn't seen things as violent. And he's like, this show is super, and he put it in big. I love it. I'm
so excited to see the violence.
It's
like the violence with Punisher is about to be crazy.
Dude, that's immediately what I thought of. Is like, this is,
if they did that with Bullseye, imagine what they're about to do with Frank Castle.
Yes. They're doing this with Daredevil and Bullseye. Punisher is going to be insane. Like kudos to, I'm assuming Feige had a large portion to do with it, but whoever made or pushed the idea of like, you know what, let's pivot completely and change our idea of doing this show completely new and just going off of Netflix. I was
just about to say, can you imagine? Can you like?
I can't. I know exactly what you're going to say. I cannot imagine.
How in the world was this show originally not going to have Karen Page, Foggy Nelson, Frank Castle, Bullseye? None of them. It wasn't going to have any of them. And they shot footage with like that's the show was moving, like they were
Yeah.
not including anybody.
Nothing.
And then I have the names up right here. The showrunner, and this is Brian, this is why this show is the way it is. His name is Dario Scartapane, if I'm saying that correctly. Do you know what other show he show ran?
God, this is like a trivia question. I just saw it the other day, and I know it's a big show. What was
The
it?
Punisher.
Okay, yeah. So,
and then Matt Corman and Chris Ord are listed as creators, and I think they might have been involved as well with some of possibly the original Netflix show. But yeah, Born Again didn't originally have all these characters. They shot footage and they saw it and they were like, yeah, this doesn't work.
No. And
obviously
thank you.
It doesn't work.
Thank you for the Disney people and those guys for recognizing that and not just pushing something through for the sake of here's Daredevil again.
And remember when everyone was freaking out when that happened?
Yeah,
and now
absolutely.
And now look at it.
Like, think about it. Like, they could have taken the easy route and just been like, sorry, that's what we're doing. We've got to do something different. This is that kind of essentially, that decision opened up the floodgates of the like multiversal, like this is all canon now. Like the second they decide, if you remember, the second they decided that, all of a sudden, like they were like, yep, Jessica Jones is canon.
The Defenders are 100% coming back.
Yeah, well, did you see they literally said, like, they put out like a list of, I think it was 8 or 9 shows with episodes that you should watch before it, and Defenders was one of them.
I'm saying it right now, Jessica Jones will be in season 2. That is an absolute lock.
I think she might even be in season 1.
Nah, I think that they're going to focus on Daredevil and bringing everything back with like, because we have to keep in mind that Karen right now is in San Francisco.
Yeah,
they have to set Wilson Fisk up to be even worse than he was by the end of season 3 Daredevil.
He is so
and here's Brian, I think he's ending the season as a winner. I think he's winning whatever happens at the end of this season.
Oh, I would not be surprised.
I think New York is going to be in a very, very, very bad spot by the end of the season.
The fact
and yes,
that,
you are right. He is so fucking good.
He is so menacing without even trying.
His voice is unbelievable.
The perfect example of is when he first shows up at Vanessa's meeting and doesn't say a word other than Vanessa, and everyone clears out. Like, that is literally exactly how you feel watching him, where it's just like he gives off a menacing presence.
I was going to bring up this scene.
What one? Oh, God.
This scene of Matt and Fisk in the diner after they see each other for the first time in years outside of Fisk's press conference. Unbelievable character work between these two. And it's I put this in my review when I posted it on Wednesday. A lot of people don't remember, or just maybe not even think about it ever. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio do not have a lot of scenes together. Ever. No,
they don't.
They're rarely ever in an actual scene together. But when they get together, it's like worlds fucking colliding. It is unbelievable the work that they do together and 100%. How it feels like they work all the time together, but they don't. And that scene, or the line that Fisk had about, vigilantes, and he's not going to allow vigilantes in his city. And then later on, he drops Punisher, Spider-Man, and Daredevil in a fucking one line. Like, this is unbelievable that we're getting this. Like, this is unbelievable that we're getting this.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing. And like, it's funny because my friend was saying, like, how much of this is like kind of like from the comics? And I said, there's a very good chunk of he goes, how much is art imitating life with Kingpin right now? Is it they're actually just making a play off of it, or is it comic books? And I'm like, no, this is coming from the comic books, but the irony is there, that it's kind of like imitating life, and it almost kind of gives it a little bit of extra spice because you're just like, oh shit, like it's kind of like you're just like, wait a minute, like what's going on here? But this is a thing in the comic books. He becomes in fact, in the Spider-Man video game, the very first one, it is dealing with the fact that Kingpin is the mayor. Like that's part of the game. So like it is a fully established thing. But the way they're going about it in this is and just how him and Vanessa are just, there's tension. He's like, no, you keep doing your illegal stuff, but like I'm gonna do this. And she's like,
but is he though? Like he's doing the same thing, but in a very different way.
I mean, he literally blackmailed the.
I was gonna say he blackmailed the police commissioner, and he's acting like he's this very different human, and he's a changed man, and all of these things. But clearly, which in a way makes him more scary because we don't know really what he's doing.
Yeah.
We don't know who he's involved with right now. We don't know where his allegiance lies. We don't know what kind of things he has behind his sleeve because he, at the moment, is acting like he's all high and mighty and that he is a changed man. But that's obviously not the case. Now, question for you, or go ahead, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, the thing that's funny is like him and Daredevil are essentially, or Matt Murdock, are essentially trying to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Like, if you think about it, like, I take it with a grain of salt. Like, I genuinely, at this point, think that he thinks that he is going to make a change and that he is doing
but that's the
right
worst
thing.
Villain.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he genuinely, like, his intention right now is, like, I'm doing this and being a good person. And Matt Murdock is, I'm going to stop being Daredevil, and that is going to make me a good person and whatever. So they both are doing the exact same thing from a very drastically different point of view. And that's what makes it so good, because you're just like, he's not a good person, but he's doing decent things. But you know he can't stay a good person the whole time, just as much as you know that Matt Murdock can't not be Daredevil. Yeah. So it's like, it's brilliant. It is brilliant.
Yeah, the writing is as good as we've seen. And look, we're only 2 episodes in, but it has been as good as the Netflix show. The Netflix show was always praised for its writing and its character work, and so far we're getting exactly that with this show so far. Look, there's so many things to talk about. I wanted to bring up in that final fight scene that we see in episode 2, we saw the skull tattoo of one of the police officers
with a backwards American flag.
And obviously you immediately go to something like the Punisher, but I highly doubt Frank is involved with this.
No, there's no way.
What are some of the theories that you think this could possibly be related to? Like, are they related to Fisk, or are these people who took up what Frank did initially, and they're doing it under the radar with his symbol, but he has actually no involvement?
That's exactly what I think it is. I think it is people, we see this happen in real life where like someone does something that isn't necessarily the right way to do it, or the legal way to do it. And people idolize the person, even though the person has no intention of being idolized, and it becomes this amorphous thing. And they're, I think, absolutely looking at him and going like, yeah, like he's going to be our symbol. And Punisher never, ever wants to like rally people to be like him or anything. He is the epitome of like the pinnacle of like lone wolf. Like the only person he is thinking about is himself. He doesn't care because his whole entire family's dead, Like, he doesn't care about anyone. So, like, to think that he's trying to, like, get a following, there's no way. Now, here is what I think might happen is, so in real life, they changed Punisher's logo because, unfortunately, in real world, the exact thing happened where people took that logo and they were not great people, and to the point where Marvel was like, we do not want any association with that, and they changed the logo. I have a feeling that's probably how you're going to get the new logo, is kind of like art imitating life, where it's going to be, he's going to go, I want no part of this. Like that. Yeah. That logo. Cause I mean, in the United States, an upside down flag / like backwards flag means some stuff. So I have a feeling Punisher at some point is going to be like, I don't represent them, and like changes his MO in some form or capacity. There's not 1%, not even like 0.001% of me that thinks that Punisher is like running a gang of people and that's like his symbol.
Agreed.
There's no evidence, like it comic books or anything, that Punisher's ever done something like that.
Well, and just from what we've seen in like the trailers and stuff, and how we've seen Frank when we see him for the first time, it looks like he's been MIA for a while. He's grown out a beard. He's got long hair. It seems like he hasn't been operating at what he usually had been the last time we saw him. And to be fair, it's been 7 years since we've seen any of them. Or at least Daredevil season 3, which I don't know when the Punisher shows ended. It might have been like a year after or so, but
I think it actually had a season after, I think.
Well, there were two seasons of the Punisher,
and it definitely came after season 1 of Daredevil. I don't know, but
season 2 was in 2019.
Okay,
so it's been 6 years since. It ended in January of 2019. They dropped all 10 episodes at once. That's what happened. It was
they just dumped. They
dumped it all because it was officially ending. I think the Punisher season 2 was actually the last season of the Netflix shows, and they just dumped everything all at once to get rid of it. Look, it's been 6 years. We currently don't know where Frank is at. We don't know when we'll be meeting him. There's 7 episodes left, and we've been told that Matt goes to him for something that Matt just can't do. Don't know what that is. Possibly killing someone, because Matt shoots someone's head off. Right? Matt has a code that he lives by, except when it comes to Bullseye.
Yeah,
that he lives by, and Frank is the guy you go to, obviously.
Which is probably to kill Kingpin.
Or maybe it's Muse.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be Muse, because we know that Muse is Kingpin is a psychopath. Kingpin's an issue, but I'm telling you guys, when we meet Muse,
it's going to be like, he's going to be so creepy. He's going to be one of those, like, he makes you uncomfortable.
So small, non-spoiler breakdown. This is a character breakdown that you can find on Marvel Wiki.
Yeah.
Muse is essentially a serial killer who is an artist who uses the blood of his victims to create his wall art.
And they drop in the first episode
someone drawing Kingpin.
No, yes, but that's not that. So that is from Netflix. I think someone painted a mural of Kingpin because he was bad or whatever. And if you notice, they were covering it up and replacing it with a good one. Where the art thing comes into play is during the newscast, you hear the newscaster say, mysterious portraits keep showing up around town, blah, 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 whatever, something like that. So that was the kind of like throwaway of like, oh, what? Like, and not enough to like, you, like, if my friend isn't going to know what that means. But like, when I heard it, I was like, but yeah, no. I have a feeling like, for me, when I saw Joker in theaters the first time, like, I was uncomfortable. Like,
I think that's exactly what.
And I think that's exactly what Muse is going to be.
We've never met a serial killer villain in Marvel yet.
Yeah, and he has,
or in the MCU, I should say. Sorry.
Yeah, and he has like psychological problems. Hence why he went to the therapist and was like, "I need help. Things are happening." And so, like, oh god, like
if you just look at him, he's visually terrifying.
Yeah, he looks like dead in the eyes, and there's just like, and apparently he's a character. He played something in Wednesday. He was like the boyfriend.
He played the villain.
Oh yeah.
He was Wednesday's boyfriend who ended up becoming like a werewolf type monster.
Yeah,
and was being awoken and teased and like pulled along essentially by the actual villain.
Yeah.
Of the first season, and then he also played a character in a show called Your Honor, where he played the son of Bryan Cranston, and he ran away from a hit and run where he killed a kid, and it's about him spiraling a little bit, and his father was a judge who tried to protect him and all of these things that happened to him. So he's actually played some roles that aren't as crazy as this, but I understand why they casted him because of his previous work.
Yeah. Well,
I watch everything, which is why I know all this. So.
This show is so good. Like,
so look, we've talked about Muse. We've talked about Kingpin.
There's one tiny thing I'm curious if you noticed.
Because we haven't talked about Karen Page. We got to get to her.
Okay, yeah. When Kingpin, I believe this is after he wins the election. They go up on the roof, and he goes, "I know you know about." He goes, "I know about Adam, the person."
I think it's an ex-lover.
Yeah. Well, no, it is. It's who she's been sleeping with while he was gone or whatever. And she makes him promise not to kill him. I'm very curious if that person shows up, and if that person is someone.
100%.
I'm curious. I'm very, and I can't think of an Adam first name, so I'm very curious to see.
You think it's someone we know?
I think it might be.
Really?
I think. Why put that part?
Well, I think it was trying to convey to the audience that he might be a changed man, because the Wilson Fisk that we know from 100%. The show. The Wilson Fisk that we know from the show would not have hesitated. That dude would be dead
not a second.
An hour.
No,
he would have been gone. So it could have just been them conveying that he is changed, or he's trying to change, and that he understands he made mistakes with Vanessa, but maybe not overall when it comes to like being mayor and stuff like that. But when it comes to Vanessa, he's always had a soft spot for her. Obviously, like he has always. I mean, he made the deal with Matt to not kill Karen and Foggy, so that Matt would make sure Vanessa is protected. That was the deal at end of season 3. And so he has always done whatever he can to make sure she's okay. And this could very well be the same situation where she's asking him to not kill him, and he's trying to right the wrongs of apparently disappearing after Echo or before Echo.
I think he disappeared after
Hawkeye.
No, I think he got his injury. He did all his recovery and disappeared into Echo time.
So he disappeared after Hawkeye.
I think,
and that's when we met him in Echo, right?
I think so. I think that the times that we see him in other shows is, I think, the time that he disappeared, and then now into
so we can say that he's basically been disappeared since he got out of prison somehow.
Well, she said a year, right?
I don't remember her saying a year.
Oh, okay.
I know, but I'm saying I don't remember her saying any time frame. I think I was so wrapped up in everything that had been happening, I didn't hear. So it very well could be a year, which would be Echo.
Yeah.
Which I guess would make sense, but I honestly have a hard time remembering a lot of Echo.
Well, Big G said the same thing, which they hinted at in one of the episodes too. They're like, "How's your eye?" He's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Shit."
Um,
Actually, didn't Matt say he got shot or two? Something?
yes.
Yeah. So
Well, no, Fisk said, I stepped away and I tried to mentor someone.
Yeah.
And then Matt goes, "Didn't she shoot you?"
Yeah.
Like a little jab, which is great.
Yeah. So that will come up. There's no how else. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he doesn't
I
have.
think whoever this Adam character is, I don't know if it's someone we know.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's someone we've known already. My whole thing is why, if it's not going to be important, why give him a name? Like, you could have just been like, I know.
Well, I think we'll definitely
the guy.
meet him if they gave him a name. I'm interested in who has as big of standards to get with Vanessa, because she's obviously been with the boss, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, is this just a booty call, or is this someone that, like, kind of a bigwig in a way?
Well, even then, like, that this is Kingpin's.
I know, like, you're getting with Kingpin's wife.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of a big deal.
And dude literally crushes people's
right. Yeah. But look, let's talk about Karen Page. I know. Let's talk about Karen Page. Gabby got bowed down, by the way, so we can go a few minutes over. Look, Karen Page, we see her at the beginning. She is going through the most traumatic event she's ever been through, and seeing her best friend be killed.
The poor woman cannot ever catch a break during a season.
She goes through so much shit.
Yeah.
Like the worst damsel in distress shit ever.
She cannot catch a break.
Even in the Punisher show, she couldn't catch a break.
That's what I'm saying. Like, every season, something happens to her. She cannot catch a break.
But we learn that in the time jump, the 1 year later, that she has left and she is now in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. I never expected it, because we saw shots of her in the trailer that were not just in that one scene, but they did it very well, because the one scene of her in the courtroom was in the first episode. Yep. Do you think we're getting a lot of her this season? I don't think we're getting a lot of her.
No, I don't.
I think it's a setup for what's coming. I think she'll be in season 2 a lot.
So do I. I think they are.
Do you think we'll see her the rest of the season?
Honestly, maybe not.
I think we'll see her when Frank comes a little bit. Like, I think it might get to a point where Matt,
I'm only like 10% confidence that she would show. Like, if I had to give a percentage of how much do I think she's going to come back at this season, I would give it like 10%.
Wow.
Like, I think they are trying to, like, they're saying, like, hey, like, this is connected. We are still part of this, but we are also at the same time going to start something completely new and build the universe around, but away from these characters. And I completely agree with you. I think season 2 is people are going to like start flooding back in more from the Netflix, but I think they want to lay a foundation of like Marvel, Disney, MCU, the first season. And I think that's kind of why they're pushing her to the side to kind of like, because let's be honest, we're not going to care about these other characters as much if Karen's there. Like, those, at least to me, if you're putting Karen with the assistant DA lady and the therapist, I'm going to pay more attention to Karen than I'm going to pay attention to those two. So I think by doing this, you are now putting them all kind of like not on the same playing field. Because I mean, let's be honest, we've had Karen for 3 seasons of another show, but like, you're building up their importance to stand next to Karen versus like having them all being around and people are like trying to fight for just as much like importance level. Whereas
That's
you
fair.
get it established in season 1, season 2, we can now mesh all these people together.
That's fair. I do think we'll see her, because there's no effing way that they can leave us thinking an entire season or year or 2 on what the hell happened between the two of them. Like,
well, they kind of already said it.
Not really, though. Like,
yeah, in the court, outside that courtroom,
like there was no real like Matt went crazy. Sure, he
Yeah.
disappeared. He stopped talking to her.
Which
But
again, mirrored Kingpin.
yes,
Exactly.
But it got so much, and it became too much that she left New York.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be something else that happened. Like, she's either working, maybe she got a job at like the San Francisco Chronicle, or
I mean, poor chick has like New York has
fair.
never treated her very kindly.
Fair,
so
but it's just gonna feel, and I'm not against not having her, but we just got our hearts ripped out about Foggy, and then to not have Karen for the next 7 episodes too would almost feel like another dagger.
I think if we get her, it will definitely be towards.
It's gonna be towards the end.
Yes, the latter half of the season.
Yeah, it'll be like the last 2, maybe 3 episodes.
I was gonna say 8 or 9 probably.
And by the way, I've heard that episode 8 is fucking bonkers.
Oh, I'm sure
Bonkers.
this show is going to be up there with a like House of the Dragon, like Penguin, like maybe not like award season type talk about, but like in the vein of like.
No, the Academy doesn't award genre films.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, anything. Yeah, stop. But like in the sense of like, it's going to be so well written, and it. I mean, already has like.
I'm already going to say this. This is going to be my favorite Marvel show. I have no doubt.
I
have no doubt.
Honestly, like
it's going to be better than WandaVision, and it's going to be better than Loki. I have no doubt.
Yeah, well, didn't he write? Didn't one of them was a part of Loki? That one of the creators wrote. I think he was a writer for season 2 of Loki.
Let me see.
So like, I mean, these guys know what they're doing. Like, give them the keys because they're.
I don't think so, actually.
Really? I swear someone said someone is connected to Loki. I know because I kept hearing it that someone is connected or wrote or something to Loki. But whatever.
The names I'm seeing here, here you go. Other Daredevil Born Again creative team members, the directors, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead.
Okay, that's
part of the Loki writing team.
Okay, so I mean,
the directors were.
Those are brilliant minds. Like, I mean,
well, they know what they're doing inside the TV universe. So
yes, and you know what? Honestly, let these people be in charge of the TV universe then, because if they're going to put out stuff like this consistently,
well, Brad Winderbaum, whatever his name is, the Marvel TV head, clearly knows what he's doing right now.
Oh,
he's making some really, really good decisions, and
I mean, look at Agatha
telling the important stuff.
Yeah,
like even Spider-Man or Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was even an example of that as well.
It was, and
that show was so much better than I was expecting it to be.
Like Disney, they're figuring.
It took them a few years, but they're figuring it out.
Yes, the TV side is starting to figure it out, and it's starting to put their feet in the ground and stay firm, which is something you need. And I think heavily reducing the amount of stuff putting out is going to heavily play into their favor.
Well, yeah, and you don't need to tell a story in every single character, and you can filter characters into other shows rather than just focusing on that character. Like we just heard that a Moon Knight season 2 is more than likely not happening, but the character will be happening in other stuff, which makes so much more sense.
Which is such a bummer. You shouldn't have introduced Jake Locke at the end, but whatever. No, I mean, hello, let's maximize the special presentations again. Like,
well, we're getting one. Did you hear?
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, give us
John
those.
Bernthal's writing it too. So sick. And the director of
it's one of his movies.
Multiple of his movies.
He did
the Will Smith film that won him the Oscar. Oh my god, it's gonna piss me off now. What's his name?
Yeah, he's done like Bernthal's like the last couple of his stuff. So like they clearly work well together or like each other. It's very much a la like a Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy type thing where it's like they work well together and put out good crap.
I did a whole video on this and I can't think of his damn name.
You put out a whole video.
I did a freaking video on it on my TikTok and I can't think of his damn name.
I know it. It's for the We Own the City one.
What is his name?
Is it?
Hold on. Ronaldo Marcus Green.
Yeah. I was gonna say I know it was We Own the City.
He did We Own the City. He did King Richard. That's the film that won Will Smith the Oscar. He did the Bob Marley film last year, and then like you said, We Own the City, and he's worked with John Bernthal like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Which I'm a huge fan of people that work well together and build a reputation, and they know how each other functions, and it makes the result better.
Agreed.
And if you think Daredevil is gonna be violent, you're giving
I can't wait to see who like the villain of that Espresso presentation is.
Like if you're giving John Bernthal the keys, and he loves that character, and he is not gonna hold back. Dude, I'm so excited. This was everything I could have hoped for, and like it just makes me that much more excited. And some of my friends are very hypercritical of like they're tired of MCU, blah 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 blah. They watch this and we're like, holy crap! Like
it just feels different. It feels like they have fully committed to the idea of everything being its own thing and not having to be connected. Yeah. And they're trying to tell the best story for whatever the character and wherever that character is. And right now, Daredevil, it's all about the redemption and the retribution and the recovery, and Matt kind of coming to the realization that he can't be Matt Murdock without Daredevil. Like they just go hand in hand. He's kind of had that issue in the past a little bit, but in the Netflix show, it was a lot more of him battling with the idea of him being Daredevil rather than accepting the fact that he has to be Daredevil, which I think this show is going to deal with a lot. And I mean, we found out at the end of episode 2, essentially, that he cannot exist without Daredevil because of the situations he puts himself in. And
like the guttural scream of him just being pissed off that he did that.
It was unbelievable.
Charlie Cox is so
he is so perfect.
I don't want to single out him because literally every single person is so. Vincent D'Onofrio is literally perfect. Charlie Cox, perfect. Deborah Wall, perfect. I again forgot the name. Wilson, whatever his name is, that plays Bullseye, is perfect.
Wilson Bernthal.
Yeah, like I cannot get over the fact that at some point they decided we are not going to use these people again.
I know, right?
And then whoever pushed to like keep it is a godsend, and Disney should be worshiping the ground that they walk on, because it was arguably one of the smartest decisions that they made and is going to reverberate for a while. Like this is going to give the MCU some legs that, for depending on who you're talking to, desperately needed it.
Yep.
And dear God, give me street level
MCU.
Happening. I know.
Happening.
It's
because how does all of this happen without Kate Bishop? Remember, Hawkeye's currently in New York.
Yeah.
We have all of these other characters that are running around in New York.
The Defenders are coming.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Colleen Wing. Bring my girl back.
Dude.
Bring my girl back.
You have been saying, forever, like that was the one thing you like.
That's the only thing I care about. Other than
know.
Daredevil, the only character I care about. Oh, excuse me. This Elektra is the only thing I care about.
They said they ain't recasting her.
Elodie Young is 100% coming back as Elektra, and I'm gonna lose my shit when it's announced. But the second thing is Jessica Henwick as Colleen Wing. I need her as Iron Fist with that sword and the white aura. Just give it to me, please. Just give it to me.
It's so exciting to just think about like what could come, and
just redo the Defenders. Just redo it.
I don't care.
Just redo it.
You can easily
totally redo it, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. Oh no. I mean, you got to give Netflix credit. Like they did a really yes, it wasn't perfect, but they did a really good job for the most part. And like Disney's lucky that they get to kind of like basically piggyback off of that, because I mean, Disney money can do whatever they want. Like, so the potential is just unlimited at this point. Also, I really I cannot think of his name, but the actor that plays Tony Soprano's the son, that is the real life. It starts with the G. I know you've been podcasting alone, so you've gotten to do your own thing now.
I haven't really talked. Michael Gandolfini.
Yes. He, I think, is going to be.
I gotta be honest, I can't stand his character right now.
But in the king, like a Joffrey type of way, right? Where it's like
I just think he's a douchebag who doesn't deserve to be where he's at.
Yeah, but like it's not the actor that you don't like; it's the character.
Yeah, but I don't. There's nothing. I don't think there's. But I haven't seen enough of him because I never watched The Sopranos, so I didn't watch the film where he played the young Tony Soprano.
Yeah,
and I haven't seen him in anything outside of this.
Neither
so I don't really know. I just don't like his character right now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm more interested in the other guy who seems like Wilson's bodyguard, but like. How the fuck can he be Wilson Fisk's bodyguard?
He's super sketchy. Yeah. Super sketchy.
Like there's something going on with him, and
the fact that he's just like every scene he's just there. You're like, what? How are you there? Like
the whole Wilson being mayor thing is gonna cause a lot of interesting story points with a lot of different characters because he has to make appearances and he's in the limelight a lot more than he was before. And a lot of
we didn't even talk about the BB
Urich.
Yeah, and how
she finds out Wilson killed her uncle.
And he didn't.
I'm not kidding you, Brian. It was like 9:00 at night because I had just got done with the show on Tuesday. I was sitting on my couch watching Daredevil, and when they met in his office, I yelled, "You killed him, motherfucker!"
Yeah.
Like I was like hyped up. I'm like, what the? He's like, I was fond, or I knew your uncle, whatever. It's like, you fucking killed him. Like,
yeah, I had a lot of respect. He was one of the journalists.
Yeah, I was like, respected. When she finds out,
it's
also one thing we haven't talked about is so there's two instances. There's the one with BB Urich and her street level podcast, whatever we want to call it, news thing. But we didn't talk about how. When Matt's senses kick in, the ratio changes on the screen. It is, for someone who loves technical camera shit like this, I lost my shit when it went to basically IMAX and it zoomed in on him and the screen expanded. That is one of the most creative things I have ever seen in my entire life for a character who has heightened senses like that. It's unbelievable.
The cinematography of this is so good. Did you read about like how they did like it was like a 360 or like a fisheye lens for the fight scene in the beginning? So you could probably understand it more than I do. But if it's basically it was like three cameras, but somehow like it was like a rounded lens or something, like one of those fisheye ones. And if you watch the scene, you can
see the people coming out from the side.
It cut well, like the picture kind of like circles. So for you cinephiles or whatever they're called, people that
I was
like
more
it.
obsessed with the one shot.
Oh yeah, I know.
I love one single shot scenes, and that whole sequence with Daredevil was just a wonder. And it was, I was like, just my jaw was open, just drool coming out of my mouth, just looking at what was happening.
Yeah, and how
the smoke, the
just
knives flying everywhere. How he caught his baton. I mean, when they ended up in the pool room and Bullseye's just throwing cards and shit, and he's killing people left and right. Like
the audible, like, oh no, when he flung the paperclip and killed the fly.
Yes, and the light. Oh my god, yeah.
Like the second I saw that fly just go, I went, oh no. And then you see him do it, and it's the bullseye on his hand.
So good.
Like
so
everything about
good.
It was so.
I can't wait to see him again. Like I want to see him and Frank. I want to see him and Frank go toe to toe. Like dude. That would be unbelievable. I know that he's more hand to hand like Daredevil is, but Daredevil is by far better at hand to hand than Bullseye is. He's more of a tactical guy like Frank because we know he's a good shot. Yeah. I'm very curious how he gets out of prison and returns to the action because there's no doubt he's done. There's no doubt he's done.
Oh no, there's 100%. He's the devastation I felt when I thought he was dead when he got thrown off the roof.
Oh, I never thought he was dead.
Oh, see, I did because I was just like, God,
they can't kill Daredevil's second most popular.
I know,
enemy.
But like they also just killed his best friend. So it's like I was like, if they're gonna go ball swinging, like,
could you imagine doing both of those in the 15 minutes, killing Foggy and then killing Bullseye?
I would have been.
People would have rioted.
I would have been devastated.
Yeah, people would have rioted.
Bullseye.
Yeah.
But man, this show just literally a baseball bat to the face of just like, we're back, baby. Like we are not
like absolutely like no question. I can't wait to see Matt back. Like I don't know if he gets back into being Daredevil in the next episode, but
I think so. We didn't even talk about White Tiger.
I know, and I didn't realize this, but did you know that the actor that played him died? I didn't know that.
It was a while ago. Yeah,
he died of cancer, which I had no idea happened. So, that's super unfortunate. Rest in peace. I'm looking forward to seeing that storyline play out because I'm not very familiar with White Tiger, but
I think they're gonna demystify him a little bit because that amulet basically gives him power. I think
they already said he's been using it.
Yeah, but I think it's going to it's just going to give him like kung fu power essentially, and that's
super strength and probably just heightened abilities
because I believe in the comics he does have some like mystical part to it, but like I would be kind of honestly like not thrilled if they introduce some type of magic, at least at this point. Like I want just ground.
Well, the fact that they already went where they went with the amulet is far past the Netflix show. The Netflix show would have never introduced an amulet.
Oh no.
The fact that we're already seeing that, I mean, Matt said it in the freaking courtroom. He didn't have his amulet. Like, we're already at that point, which is kind of cool for this character. So,
yeah. So, I mean, the fight scene, they literally kill a cop by throwing him in front of a subway train, and it just
he just splattered everywhere.
Yeah, like they literally, Disney did not give about like the violence.
No, they went for it. They 100% went for it, and it totally worked.
And they need like, you can still be Disney without like just like it doesn't need to constantly be princesses and family fun.
I mean, that was old Disney used to do that all the time. They used to make movies, one-off movies that, I mean, they weren't to this point, obviously, but they weren't, all sunshines and rainbows like most Disney films. And then they got away from that for like 20 years, and people started to get tired of it. And now we're getting to a point where they're accepting it, and they're doing things like Andor, which Andor is going to show a very, 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 very hard thing from Legends in season 2 that's going to make a lot of people upset.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, and they're doing things like Deadpool and Wolverine. They're doing things like Daredevil.
No,
I mean, was
violent.
Yeah, Deadpool Wolverine. I mean, it did that, but then you're doing Daredevil, and there's a lot of things that are coming, and it's clearly showing that Disney is open to doing a lot of different things. A Punisher one-off, a Werewolf by Night one-off, like all of these things that are so different from old school Disney. That is very exciting.
You have to adapt with the times. Like, you can't just constantly hold out and think that you're going to be okay. And I think, honestly, the thing that really pushed them over the edge was acquiring Fox. How there's so many franchises. How are you going to, like,
Alien?
Disney? Yes, that was literally what I was about to say. You can't Disneyfy Alien. Like, there's no, like, those types of things. So, like,
Alien Earth is going to be on Disney Plus, you guys. That's crazy.
It's just like,
I'm so excited for that show.
I don't know enough about, but I might jump into the Alien just because of that show. But
the most recent Alien movie was incredible.
That's what everyone says.
And I love Romulus so much.
Yeah. So, like, good on Disney for finally just kind of like, yes, it's very different, but like, you're still able to do certain things, and like, this is going to make them a lot of money at the end of the day, which, let's be honest, that's what they need. That's the end goal of it. So, like, either accept it or move on, or like accept it.
I mean, they're going to have a movie come out in the very near future where a character rips another character's spine out. So, and I can't fucking wait for it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, that's gonna wrap up the conversation for this week. We're gonna be doing this on a weekly basis. It's either gonna be on Wednesdays or Thursdays. We're gonna try for Wednesday next week. The reason we didn't do yesterday was my fault. Dad duties, things happening at home. But it'll be Brian and I. There may be some other people jumping in here and there, but we're gonna just do episode reviews. And next week it'll obviously only be the one episode, so we might dive into it a little bit deeper. But we're here for the next 8 weeks talking Daredevil Born Again.
Can't get rid of me. I'm like a cockroach. Eventually, I'm going to show back up.
He just won't be on the Whiskey Jedi until Daredevil's over. He can't be on both shows at once. So,
that's fine. If I have to do just Marvel, like, I'll stay in my lane.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. All of you who popped in, commenting along, Big G, Boo, Star Drew, John Pierce. Appreciate you guys. Brandon, I see, popped in here. Reefism. Hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your week. And then, Brian will be back next week for episode 3 of Daredevil Born Again. There, guys.